Good morning. Hello. Hey.
It's been great. It's been really, really great. Yesterday we talked a lot about The Hobbit. So today I want to start by talking to you about Pirates of the Caribbean, because we did not have a single Pirates-related question yesterday. So the thing is, when you came to Pirates, you already had the Hobbit legacy basically behind you, but still you came to another huge franchise, the fifth installment, and it was very, very big. But still, with the experience that you had, what were your thoughts and feelings when you took on the role as Cramble in Pirates?
Yeah, I was really excited. It was like going from one franchise to another was pretty special. But what was so lovely about working on The Hobbit is because it was shot in Australia, some of the crew were the same. So some of the makeup team, the head of makeup and hair and makeup, one of the makeup artists that did Bomba in The Hobbit did me on Pirates of the Caribbean. So that it was like sort of revisiting some old family friends. So yeah, it was just so nice visiting that kind of world again and having friends on the job with me.
But still, you basically are integrated into a team that might have worked together for 4 prior movies. And of course, some people know each other for years, and then you join the team. What I always try to imagine and ask myself is, what do the franchise alumni do when new actors come on board, come on set, take on new roles? How can you describe this situation?
It's quite daunting to suddenly be adopted into Johnny Depp's new crew, but they were really lovely. Like Stephen Graham in particular, he is such a nice guy and really took me under his wing, really. And he was just a great person to have on board, and would invite me to dinners and sort of got to know the team that way. So we sort of made it a pact to get to know each other socially before we went on set and started filming. So yeah, they were really lovely and supportive and warm and yeah, really nice.
About the character, Cramble, I've read that he appears to be the smartest pirate on the Dying Gull.
Which doesn't say much, because I'm just going to put it out there, pirates aren't smart.
Yeah.
So maybe that's not a great thing, but yeah.
I think that's like when you visit the dwarves in The Hobbit and they say, he's the one who drinks the least.
Yeah, which is loads.
Oh God, that is still a lot.
Exactly that.
But what I always ask myself is, where does this information, he is the smartest pirate on the Dying Gull, he can actually read, he uses glasses and so on. How much of this character comes from you? How much was in the script? How can we imagine the process of developing the character?
Oh no, it was, yeah. So I auditioned for Cramble, and they asked for several different takes, and I sent off my tape to them, and I got the job, and I came back and was on set, and I sort of said, look, I gave you 2 different reads. I made one of them quite geeky, and one of them quite nerdy and intellectual, sort of. And they just said, Adam, we love both your choices, so you choose one. And so it was on a big project like Pirates, you know, you're a very small cog in a very big wheel, so you have to make the decisions yourself. So I spoke to the costume and makeup department, and I said, you know, I'd really like a little tiny thin moustache, and they said great. They gave me a long wig, and also like the props department they said, "Is there anything you want?" And I went up to them and I said, I just think he would really love a pair of spectacles that sort of just hang on his nose. So they got that. And then you sort of go to set with it and having all these things, hoping that the director will sort of not notice really, because then if it jars with their look, then they say, "Oh no, can you get rid of the glasses?" But no, I was really lucky. I just sort of picked and I think that's from experience of being on The Hobbit, you know, being able to get to sort of demand things and ask for things and not be shy to ask for new little things to bring on board.
But still, both The Hobbit and Pirates are huge sets that were built under the sun, basically. Of course, you shot a lot in studios, but as well in the free open world. And when I always hear filmmakers say the 3 things that you should never do when you make a movie: never work with children, never work with animals, and never, ever work on the open sea. What was your experience? And I recall the thing with the movie Waterworld, which has a sort of infamous legacy.
I still love that movie.
I liked it as
I
well.
love that movie.
But still, they had, this entire set that they have, this city, they had to build twice because it was completely destroyed by the weather from one second to the next. I don't know if it was a hurricane or something that just came in. And I know the Pirate set also has this issue where they had to rebuild a complete set because it was destroyed.
In the weather?
Yeah,
Yep.
in the weather.
Yeah.
So what were your experiences? So when I say never work with water and the sea, what is your experience? Because both Hobbit and Pirates used big open spaces and loads of water.
They did. I mean, the Hobbit was like a theme park ride going down the barrels. That was a different kind of water experience. It was like being a theme park, scream if you want to go faster type thing. But the Pirates, so we worked on 2 ships. One ship was on a green screen and on a pivot, so we never went on the water, but it was so high up because they did massive angle shots. And in fact, that was more scary because it was on this massive pivot. It was like, I would imagine, if you can imagine the base at the bottom of the boat hitting the ceiling now, so it would be on a big plinth, so you had to get a ladder to the top. That was terrifying looking down, absolutely terrifying. But when we went on the water with the Black Pearl, it was rocky, but we were okay. It was just going to the toilet. It's like a nightmare because you have to stop and then get on another little dinghy to go to another thing, to go to the toilet and say, "Sorry, guys," and then you get another boat going back to get back on the boat and then to start again. So yeah, can you imagine, I think they were maybe 7 actors, constantly having wee breaks, getting in a dinghy to go to the toilet was it slowed things up a little bit. So yeah, that was but I didn't get seasick, so that was a good thing.
That is it. I mean, when you told the story about the boat being this high, I was like, fuck. Because, I don't know, are you afraid of heights?
Weirdly enough, I'm okay with heights. It's other people. So, for example, if you looked over the height, I'd be like, "Oh my God, he's gonna fall."
Okay.
I've got a fear of other people falling off. I don't know I don't care if I fall off, but other people are like, "Oh my gosh." Yeah.
Yeah, but for me, sometimes when I'm using stairs and I'm on the 2nd floor, I can't look down anymore.
Wow.
And it goes like, oh.
Okay, so you'd be useless.
Because for me that is actually an interesting thing, because when you sign on to do Pirates,
You have no idea.
you have no idea how and where the sets are being built. Yeah. Did you experience something like someone looking at this and say, "No, no.
Well, it's the same with horses. There was a big thing with horses, and one of the actors was really uncomfortable around horses. Luckily, I'd done loads of training on The Hobbit with horses, so it was a walk in the park. But he was like, "No, I'm sorry, I didn't know about this. So he's when you see him on a horse, it's his double, because he just was too frightened. So that's the only time when I know someone that's gone, no, I can't do this. Yeah.
So cool. This is my first panel today. We're 12 minutes in, and already I'm absolutely certain that this is going to be the stupidest question that I ask all day.
Oh God, okay.
Because you teased something that, of course, everyone watching movies like Pirates, and especially like Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, kind of stuff, has to ask themselves. You mentioned the word toilet. And the only thing that went in my head was, yeah, when you're in a huge, thick costume, how do you go to the toilet?
It's a whole movie in itself. And I think, that's the movie you really should see. And luckily for me, on The Hobbit, I had a very tiny fat suit, like it was just like this. But bless Stephen Hunter, who played Bomba. Like, his costume was huge. And around the set, there were, porta cabins, these little tiny, you have them at festivals, little tiny outdoor toilets. Well, his costume didn't even fit in one of those. He had to literally derobe to go to the toilet. So I was not too bad. But yeah, it's very strange. It's very strange. Especially if you still have your prosthetic hands on. With your big prosthetic hands. Yeah, that can really do things for your manhood when you're going to the toilet with your prosthetic hands on. There we go.
Okay, let's forget I have asked this.
That's an image you can never forget now. Sorry.
But the thing is, when you joined the cast of The Hobbit, Peter Jackson already had the Lord of the Rings legacy behind him. But I've heard that he has a very unique style of directing his actors and how he gives the commands of what he wants to achieve with the scene, with the shot. How did you experience this work relationship and the way that you were directed? Maybe a bit in comparison of Hobbit and Pirates.
Well, on big productions like that, they're not only looking at your acting, but it's like the whole production, and there's hundreds of people working, from makeup artists to technical to props. So a lot of the direction was over a tannoy. So he would be directing you in particular, or me, but it would be told to 150 people. Mm-hmm. So that was quite daunting, having a note. But Pete, when you work for Pete, he's so friendly and so warm and so clear with what he wants. He knows what he wants. And you can bring stuff to the table, but ultimately it's going to be the thing that he wants that's going to be in the movie. And it's like working. He's just such a friendly, normal for like an Oscar-winning normal person can be. He is. It's like working on a very low-budget film with him, in the sense that it's such a great atmosphere. And yeah, he's fab.
But this is the thing, because both Peter Jackson and Sam Raimi come off very low-budget films, and I don't know if you know those or watched those when you grew up, because Peter Jackson made Bad Taste about aliens, and he made fucking Brain Dead, the zombie lawnmower man, which is one of my all-time favorite movies.
Yep, Frighteners. The Frighteners.
Frighteners was great.
Great movie.
Michael J. Fox and
also Heavenly Creatures, which I think is, I'd be tempted to say it's Peter Jackson's best movie. I love it so much.
But still, were you a horror movie fan when you grew up? What are the movies that you watch when you come home and say, okay, I now have time for one movie? What's it gonna be?
I love like 80s movies. Mm-hmm. Any 80s movies, usually starring Goldie Hawn or Tom Hanks. So or anything from Private Benjamin to Overboard to Big, all those classics. They're my films that I watch constantly.
Like The Money Pit,
Oh, classic.
when he looks down the hole
Yeah.
and starts laughing.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. Just really good movies.
Speaking of watching movies, when did you first watch Hobbit and Pirates? Because I know pirates are a huge problem of the industry. What a pun. And I know, I often hear on stage here that even actors don't get full scripts. They only get their scenes. And they sometimes don't even know the grand scale of things they're working on. How was that for you with the two big projects?
Well, a lot of it was green screen as well. So that's we were shown drawings, but that was about it. So when I went to see the final thing, I was as taken back as someone who wasn't involved in the movie, because it was just so grand and so big and so detached from what I thought the green screen was going to portray. It was so amazing. But yeah, the first time I saw The Hobbit was at the premiere, and the first time the premiere in New Zealand, and the first time I saw Pirates was the premiere in Los Angeles. So yeah.
Really? So no way to see your own movie
beforehand? No.
Not even your scenes?
No, it's all top secret. All top secret.
I think I would be scared to death going to this premiere thinking to myself, what if it's shit?
Well, there is that worry, but no, it's you're just taking on a ride from the whole premiere experience, it's quite a way to see it, because the adrenaline's just kicking through your body. So yeah. A question?
Yes, please.
Hello.
Hi. So I have two questions. I wanted to ask you if you read the book before you did the movie of The Hobbit. And the second question is, there is this scene in The Hobbit where you throw the dishes and you do this song, and I wanted to ask how you shot this particular scene.
So the answer to question one is no. I hadn't read it, but at primary school I had it read to me, so I remembered the riddle scene and the Gollum scene very clearly. So, for example, when I got the role in The Hobbit, they said, "Oh, you're going to play a dwarf," and I thought that was basically villager number 2, But I didn't realize it was such a pivotal role in the movie. So no, I hadn't read it. And the scene in Bag End with the plates and the vegetables and all the eating was months and months of filming, and usually on second unit. Which I filmed a lot of that with Andy Serkis, and he was directing that. And I remember trying to catch this mug with rubber hands on. Was quite time consuming, and all the crew members try and go on, Adam, you can catch it. And there's outtakes of me grabbing it, and it's just falling down. I said, sorry, again and again and again. So that took absolutely ages, but there are moments of it that are CGI, because we are not circus performers.
Awesome. Does anyone else have? Yes, please.
Hi there. I've got a costume-related question.
Yeah.
Because in both Pirates and The Hobbit, you're wearing wigs, and you mentioned the fat suit and the mustache. Do you like those kinds of costumes where you're really in disguise and you look totally different than you do normally?
Yeah, I love it. I do love it. I mean, Pirates was a lot easier to wear. I wasn't as hot, but then the country itself was hotter, so that was a bit strange. But you can, for example, on The Hobbit, we did, I think it was 8 weeks of dwarf boot camp which was sword training, singing lessons, horse riding, the gym. I mean, I'd never been to a gym before I went to New Zealand, so that you had to get your fitness up. And also we did this dwarf boot camp where all the dwarfs were in a room like this, walking around with their bellies stuck out, trying to find how a dwarf walks, because an elf walks very upright and tall, and it feels like they're floating on air. But the tip for a dwarf is to think that you're ploughing the field, and you have like some sort of ploughing machine, so it's all quite hard to and you're pushing and you're pulling everything along with you. So we did months and months of this kind of just, we looked ridiculous, like all grown men in a room just walking around with our bellies out like this, thinking, oh, I've got it, look at me. And they're going, yes, we have this great instructor going, Adam, you've got it, that's great. But it was irrelevant, because as soon as you put the costume on, you had to walk like this. There was no other way. It was like the costume did all the work for you. So no matter how much prep I'd done, the costume was the thing that, suddenly, if you've got those boots on and I've got my rucksack, I'm Ori straight away. So yeah, that's why I love costumes, for that reason, because basically they do the work for me. I'm a cheat.
One very last question, because we have to close very soon.
Hello.
Hello there. I've got a question about future projects. Are there any acting projects for the near future planned where you would be starring in?
Yes, I've just, 2 weeks ago, I came back from Spain, where I filmed a Western. It's a BBC and Amazon Western. It's like a mini TV series. It's called The English, and it stars Emily Blunt as the lead. And I'm in episode 3 and 4, or 3, I think. Episode 3. So that should be coming within the next
Time.
Yeah.
So,
And until that, who knows?
I wish you all the good success
Thank
for the
you.
show,
Thank
for
you.
future project. Thank you so much for coming to Austria Comic Con. Thank all of you so much for being here with us, for supporting us in
Thank
this
you.
hard time. If you find any more questions that you want to ask Adam, you can find him at his booth where he does the signings. But for this panel,
Thank you,
It's
guys.
closing
It's
time.
honestly so nice to be back at a convention. Hooray!
thank you for coming,
Yay!
Adam Brown!
Thank you.